Hello, hello, dear friend. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about higher wisdom, spirituality, transformation, and healing. My name is Mafalda, and in this video, I want to talk about nervous system regulation, the integration of the mental body and the emotional body, as well as the energetic aspect of that, which is the integration of the masculine and the feminine, which is a major theme in this day and age. And the reason why I want to talk about this is that I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I don't recall exactly which one, that the feminine aspect of life has been oppressed over the last few thousands of years. There's been an imbalance between the masculine and the feminine on the planet. And so in this age, we are restoring that balance. And that imbalance could be seen as how all the feminine qualities of life were deemed lesser. So anything to do with vulnerability, emotion, intuition, that which is non-linear, creativity, flow, etc., was seen, as I said, deemed lesser, and all that was masculine was glorified, masculine in nature. So the rational, the logical, the linear, structure, strength, the mental body, so thoughts, reason. And the issue here is that all of us carry both energies within. And we know this both from a spiritual and a quantum physics perspective. From a quantum physics perspective, we know that everything has a plus and a minus. So everything has an electrical and a magnetic polarity. And so all of us carry both polarities within, and it is when we integrate them, when we bring them into balance within, and we come into inner union within, that is when we upgrade our nervous system. Because the feminine is the emotional body, the masculine is the mental body. So you see how the nervous system bridges both these bodies, in fact, with the physical body as well, which is connected to the emotional body. So more so to the feminine in this case. And so nervous system regulation has so much to do with bringing these two into balance. And we don't often hear about this because we're hearing about it from different schools of thought. So perhaps more so from a psychology perspective, as opposed to a more spiritual, esoteric perspective. But they are speaking to the same thing, because the upgrade of our nervous system, or the union within between our own masculine and feminine, the balance between our own plus and minus, represents our highest evolution as humans. So our highest evolution doesn't lie in one side overpowering the other, neither within nor without. It resides in the balance between the two, and when they collaborate, when they work together, when intuition and logic work together, when structure and flow work together, when thought and emotion work in coherence. And here we are talking about a state of being that is heart-centered. Why? Because we sanctify the mind. We bring the mind through the heart. Or we could also see that as a process of bringing the lower mind and elevating it, merging it with the higher mind, which would be the connection to source. So as we are doing this, as we are bringing balance to these two energies, as we are learning to regulate the nervous system, we are also evolving, as I said, into the higher expression of what it means to be human and, in fact, come into higher states of being. And that's actually when you can access higher levels of frequency, and you are, in essence, you are coming out of the paradigm of fear. You are coming out of the lower levels of separation consciousness and starting to operate at the level of unity consciousness, where intrinsically you operate from the knowing that these are two sides of the same coin. And that's the law of polarity and also the law of gender mentioned in the Hermetic principles. Two opposites, two sides of the same, that when integrated are one. They're two sides of the same thing. They are, in fact, one and the same, and in fact, at higher levels, they are integrated. And that's why, in order to reach higher levels, we must also integrate them. So how do you upgrade or regulate your nervous system? Well, as I was mentioning, we are talking about integrating the mental body and the emotional body. So when we talk about upgrading the nervous system or regulating the nervous system, ultimately for it to function as it was intended to, actually, because it was always intended to operate in this way, and we're also upgrading it as humanity is evolving, but that's another conversation. But as we are regulating the nervous system, what we are doing essentially is the inner work or shadow work of bringing to light our subconscious beliefs, thought patterns, so mental body, and allowing the stored, trapped emotions to surface so that we can feel our way through them. And so throughout this process, we are alchemizing, on the one hand, the emotionality, the lower levels of emotionality, of fear-based emotions. So emotions that are within the paradigm of fear, not the paradigm of love. And at the same time, we are making our subconscious beliefs seen. We're seeing our negative programs. We're allowing them to surface. We are disidentifying from them. We are acknowledging that they are not true, and in this way, releasing them. And we are reframing them with beliefs that are aligned with the truth of how Source sees it, whatever that situation in your life is, which is always through the eyes of love. So you can see that this is also a process of alchemizing fear into love, both on the emotional side and on the mental side. And this is, of course, a process that requires a lot of clearing to come to the surface. And it's also an energetic balancing process, because these two energies are also different. The masculine, or their expressions, of course, of the whole of the same thing, but they're different expressions, polar opposite expressions, the masculine and the feminine. And so as we are regulating our nervous system, what we are also doing is we are coming into peace with, as I mentioned, structure and flow. So we're not leaning only toward one side. We understand that there are moments when we need to take aligned action, the masculine, and there are moments when we need to rest and we need to receive and we need to surrender. There are moments when we need to create structure, when there are moments when we need to hold space, when we need to be present. And there are other moments when we need to move, we need to change, we need to flow. We need to allow that which is wild. We need to allow our intuition to come through. There are other moments when we need to use our reason and our logic to reflect. And so we can use our mind in in a way that is in coherence. And so thought isn't actually coming from egoic structures or from conditioning anymore. It's actually coming from our higher self, from our connection to source. And so that is operating in the higher mind. That would be an elevated aspect of the masculine, just as creativity, this energy of creation. And so as we're making space for both these energies within our lives, we are also going through that process of regulating and upgrading the nervous system. And as you can probably see, this is a process that we are undergoing as a collective as well, not only in connections and relationships, but also, and I can go into that if that's a topic that you're interested in, but also in general on the planet. As I mentioned, we glorified and we polarized our societies in this masculine paradigm, this masculine way of being. And what we're realizing is that we don't necessarily need to go to that extreme to succeed or to also to be productive. And we're integrating more of the feminine in our lives. And the more we do that within, the more we will see the balance of these two polarities reflected in the outside, reflected in our world. And of course, this isn't necessarily an easy job because it does require clearing through a lot of distortion that comes up. But it's definitely worth it because nervous system regulation is the new flex. This is, slow living. It's being present in the now moment. You cannot reach that state if you're not living from a place of presence. And from there, you can create or co-create. You can surrender to your soul and be part of co-creating the highest timeline for yourself. That means coming into a life that feels abundant, that feels prosperous, that feels expansive. And that doesn't mean that you don't face challenges, of course not, but you feel equipped to face those challenges. You are anchored in a trust deeper than yourself. You are anchored in yourself, in this vehicle. So you haven't checked out from this human experience. What you've done is you've upgraded the vessel to be able to house and anchor all that which was higher here on earth. Literally, quite literally transforming your entire life, because that's how reality works. And maybe that's a topic for the next one. Let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about how reality works and manifestation. I think that's actually a good one, a good topic for the next video. Okay, so please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps get the message out, and I'm really passionate about speaking the truth and sharing guidance, wisdom, insight to help guide, help the collective shift into love, shift into higher states of consciousness. So do support if you're enjoying, and stay tuned for more because there is more coming. If you do want further guidance and one-to-one support, then I am available for that. My info is below, and you are welcome to reach out and even book a free discovery call so we can see what type of work would best suit you and your needs. So thank you all so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me, and I send you so much love.